So when a relationship ends, some of the key things that everybody will go through, generally speaking, are the emotional turmoil of it all, right? So the grief, the loneliness, there can be anger, a lot of fear about the future for some of us. Many, many, many women, the vast majority, I would suggest to you, really are struggling to let go. Romanticizing the past, forgetting all of the things that were difficult in the relationship, and dealing with the triggers of today. That could be a new partner's on the scene. It could be that they've just walked out and they're not going to give you any closure. So letting go can be a massive part of this, a really big process when you're coming out of a relationship. The co-parenting struggles, if you have kids under 18, it's generally tricky because there's custody battles, there's the emotions of the children, especially depending on their age, there's how involved the other party is with them, how cooperative the ex-partner might be with you, whether there are court issues that are outstanding. Kids who are generally teens and older, it's a different set of stories because they can have an understanding of what's happening. They generally will take sides, and that has a lot of issues in and of itself. Of course, there are the financial and legal stresses. You may have gone from 2 incomes to 1 income. You may be dividing assets or have the prospect of dividing assets. There may be debt that has to be dealt with, legal fees, different living situations. Maybe you're in that ghastly, horrible situation of being separated under the same roof, which is incredibly, incredibly painful. Maybe you've come out of this relationship and you are losing friends. You're feeling isolated. People are offering you really unhelpful advice. Some people are suggesting that, hey, when are you going to start dating again? And those social shifts can be they can really shake you up. They can make you quite distressed. So those things also can be coming up. And of course, there's that whole deal of what's next, that uncertainty of the future, trying to rebuild your life. So creating new routines, trying to find something to feel joyful about, trying to build your confidence, trying to find out who the hell you are now. Those things can be so, so, so painful. But all of the things that I've just mentioned are normal parts of separation. The vast majority of people will go through some or all of those things to varying degrees, depending on lots of factors. Now, for those of you, and you can just pop this into the comment if you'd like to, how long were you in your relationship for? Was it 5 years or less? 10 years or less? Was it 10, 20, 30, 40 years? I saw ladies who were saying, 20, 30 years, which is a long time. So this part, I'm going to talk to those ladies. If you were in a relationship for more than 10 years, and then incrementally, if it was 20, 30 years or plus, these things are going to be massive for you. You're going to have to shift your identity from we, being me and my partner, to me. That is a massive shift in identity when oftentimes you are also going through things like menopause, kids leaving home, possibly preparing for retirement. That identity shift can be phenomenal and can be paralyzing. Like women who get paralyzed by it, I have plenty in my membership who struggle to move forward because it's such an incredible challenge. Women who've never been on their own, who've been with their partner for their entire adult life. Those longer term relationships have deep grief, because there is a lot of the past, which is the story about who we are. Maybe it's about family, and then there's the story about the future that we assumed we would have. Maybe there would be grandchildren, maybe we were retiring together, maybe we're going to do activities that we'd been waiting our whole life to do. Maybe these were the best years and we were preparing for the best years of our lives, and they've gone. So the grief can be extraordinary. Letting go can be particularly hard because of nostalgia, long-term patterns in the relationship. Some of the things that aren't discussed are some of the social things, and this could be friendship groups and also in-laws. And this can be gut-wrenching. If you've been in a relationship with somebody for 20 years and their parents you have known your whole adult life, maybe their siblings, maybe you have close relationships with family members, maybe there are nephews and nieces that you really love and care about. The entire family dynamic shifts, and it can feel like the earth has moved underneath your feet. It is really, really distressing because you not only lost your partner, but you may have lost quite a significant part of your social structure too. The financial strain can be phenomenal, depending on how you lived your lives, and what sort of capacity you had financially. Splitting assets can be just breathtaking. For women, generally, men will recover generally from a separation financially within about 2 years. Women never recover. Women, generally speaking, after a separation will have very different financial outcomes than men. And so it's really important to be thinking about, finances, and looking into speaking to lawyers and accountants to try and help you manage that kind of stuff. And of course, adjusting to a single income, or if you have been a stay-at-home parent for the last 10, 20, 30 years, going into the workforce can seem absolutely overwhelming and daunting. For those of you who have come out of relationships and you're like, I just can't do it again, it makes me feel a bit sick, you may be thinking, I don't know if I'll ever be with anybody ever again. I don't know if I can go and trust again. I don't know if I can go be in a relationship again. I've only been with this one person my entire life. So dating can feel really distressing. When we have been with people for a long time, we have set routines. We know each other really, really well. We understand each other and the way we work. And so what can happen is that loss of daily routine can really send us into a tailspin. It can be so incredibly challenging because now there's nothing anchoring our life, and so it can just be breathtaking. And finally, this fear of starting over. And for women who've been in longer term relationships, who are in midlife, I say midlife, 50s, 60s, 70s. I'm in my late 50s. I think that's midlife to me. But the fear of starting over and wondering about, is it too late? Is this it? Like, is this the way it's going to be for the end of time? All of these things for women who have had a longer term relationship, we know to process through that, the research says around 2 years. Now, please don't stress when I say that to you. What I want you to do is know that every single day something is happening and you're moving towards change. But the process itself is going to take time. And so you have got to give yourself grace. The longer the relationship, the more challenging it is to get through it. Shorter term relationships, I'm talking under 5 years, it can be a little bit different. But for those that are longer term, really you have to understand it's going to be a bit of a hike.